You know, we spend a massive amount of our lives operating under rules we never actually signed up for.
Right, like the standard 9 to 5 workday.
Exactly. The 9 to 5, or the idea that harder work automatically equals better results.
Oh, or the assumption that you have to grind until you're 65 just to, finally enjoy your life.
Yeah, we just sort of accept these things as gravity, but what if they aren't gravity at all?
I mean, that is the big question.
Right. So our mission today is simple. We want to give you a shortcut to entirely upgrade your mindset.
Yes.
We're doing a deep dive into this really fascinating document titled 17 Questions That Changed My Life.
And the core premise here is just incredibly liberating.
It really is. It basically argues that reality is largely negotiable,
Yeah.
and that most of the limitations you feel on a daily basis are, well, they're just fragile, socially reinforced rules that you can choose to break at any time.
It is such a profound shift in perspective. I mean, when you start stress testing the boundaries of what's considered impossible, or even just, the way things are done,
Right.
you realize how much of the world is just constructed by people who are really no smarter than you are.
Which perfectly brings to mind a Mark Twain quote from the source material. It
Yeah.
really sets the tone for everything we're about to discuss today.
Oh, I love this quote.
Yeah, it goes, whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time to pause and reflect.
So good.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and to do that properly, we aren't just going to read you a laundry list of 17 disjointed questions.
Definitely not.
We're going to synthesize these questions into actionable frameworks.
Because we want to give you mental models you can take and apply immediately, right? To your career, to your finances, and honestly, to your personal peace of mind.
Exactly. We're breaking this down into the architecture of a redesigned life.
Let's start the journey with the very first step of breaking those rules, which often means doing the exact opposite of the majority.
Right.
Our source shares this incredible story from the year 2000.
Oh, yeah, this is a classic setup.
It really is. So a recent grad is working his first job out of college in San Jose. He's driving his mom's hand-me-down minivan.
And his desk is literally wedged in a fire exit.
Yes, which is just such a vivid picture. So he's trying to sell mass data storage to CEOs and CTOs, and he is just failing miserably.
Because cold calling is brutal.
It is brutal, but then he notices this structural flaw in the industry. The gatekeepers who block him and the decision makers he wants to reach, well, they all work standard 9 to 5 hours.
Just like all the other sales reps.
Right. So he's fighting on the exact same battlefield at the exact same time as everyone else.
Yeah, so he decides to apply what he calls the 48-hour opposite task.
Which is brilliant.
He asks himself, what if I did the exact opposite of the other sales guys for just 2 days?
And what does it do?
He stops calling during normal hours entirely.
Wow.
Yeah, he only makes his calls from 7 to 8:30 in the morning and then from 6 to 7:30 at night.
Bypassing the gatekeepers completely.
Exactly, because they've already gone home for the day, leaving the actual executives to pick up their own phones.
That is so smart.
It really establishes a fantastic rule of thumb for you to remember. If everyone in your industry is competing on the what, you can instantly win by competing on the when.
And he takes it further, too. I mean, he only asks questions instead of delivering a pitch.
Right.
He studies technical manuals, so he sounds like an engineer rather than a salesperson.
Yeah, and he even ends his emails differently.
Oh, right. He says something like, I totally understand if you're too busy to reply, and thank you for reading this far.
Instead of that presumptuous, I look forward to speaking soon, closing that everyone else uses.
And the result of this inversion, in his last quarter, he outsold the entire Los Angeles office of their biggest competitor, EMC.
What's fascinating here is, how beautifully this applies to finding uncrowded paths in any industry, not just in sales.
Yeah, how so?
Well, you see this exact same opposite mentality applied when the author later launched his famous book, The 4-Hour Workweek.
Oh, right.
He was trying to figure out the least crowded marketing channel. He asked best-selling authors what worked, and they all pointed to blogs.
Now, keep in mind, at the time, blogs were highly powerful, but totally underappreciated by traditional PR firms.
Exactly. Most people would hear that and immediately blast out an identical pitch to 500 bloggers.
And just get lost in their inboxes.
Right. But instead, he goes in person to the Consumer Electronics Show, CES, in Las Vegas.
Where there are, what, over 150,000 attendees?
Yeah, massive crowd. But he doesn't even walk onto the convention floor.
Wait, really?
Really. He parks himself at an off-site lounge for bloggers sponsored by Seagate, the blog house.
Ah!
And he just hangs out. He asks them dumb questions about technology, gets some drinks, and entirely avoids pitching his book directly.
Which is wild. One famous tech blogger later summarized this intricate marketing master plan as literally get drunk with bloggers.
Right. And it worked because he removed the friction
Right.
of the direct pitch.
Yeah, people inherently resent being sold to.
Their guards immediately go up.
Mm.
But people love stories and they love connection. So instead of a direct pitch, you sell around the product.
Like what he did with the Geek to Freak experiment.
Exactly. He used that same indirect approach. He wanted to market a sports supplement, but he knew directly pitching a pill creates skepticism.
Sure.
So he documented this crazy personal experiment where he gained 34 pounds of muscle in 28 days.
Calling it Geek to Freak.
Yeah, and it went completely viral because the story itself was wildly entertaining and unconventional.
So that natural curiosity drove massive traffic back to his product without him ever having to explicitly say, buy this.
It's not a gimmick. It's a structural shift away from friction.
It's like being stuck in rush hour traffic.
Oh, good analogy.
If everyone is stubbornly sitting in the northbound lanes, just barely moving bumper to bumper, the easiest path to speed is literally crossing the median and heading south.
Even if it feels completely counterintuitive.
Exactly. But I have to push back a little here.
Okay, let's hear it.
Does this opposite approach actually scale long-term? Finding the uncrowded path is great for a launch, but does it sustain a business?
It sustains the business precisely because you aren't burning resources fighting in the crowded lanes.
Okay, fair.
However, you are right that it introduces a new problem. The natural consequence of successfully finding an uncrowded path is rapid growth.
Right.
You get more clients, more emails, more demands.
That is the paradox of success.
Yeah.
Your reward for building a great product or strategy is becoming tracked by its logistics.
Yeah.
And the default human reaction is to just work longer hours to handle the load.
But our source argues the solution isn't adding more effort. It's forcing extreme constraints.
The art of subtraction.
It is arguably the most powerful tool in this entire document.
This actually brings up one of the most jarring questions he asks. If I could only work 2 hours per week on my business, what would I do?
Which sounds impossible.
It does. But he actually applied this forcing function.
Using the 80-20 Pareto principle, right?
Exactly. The mathematical reality that 80% of your results usually come from 20% of your efforts.
Right.
So he did something that sounds terrifying to most founders. He fired his highest maintenance clients.
Wow.
Yeah. He took 90% of his retail customers and put them on a completely automated autopilot system.
And then just poured all his remaining focus strictly into his top 3 to 5 highest profit clients. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's really about solving problems purely by subtracting.
Which we almost never think to do.
We don't. The source gives a brilliant example of a startup called Jiminy, which later became the fitness platform Daily Burn.
Oh, I remember Daily Burn.
Yeah, so they needed to improve the percentage of visitors signing up on their website, but they didn't have the time or manpower for a massive, complex redesign.
So what did they do?
They asked, what if we could only subtract to solve this?
Okay.
They went into the code and eliminated roughly 70% of the clickable elements on their homepage.
Just 70%.
Yeah, they just stripped it bare to force the user's focus onto the single most valuable click.
And what happened?
Their conversions immediately jumped 21.1%.
That perfectly highlights another core question from the document. What would this look like if it were easy?
Yes, we constantly overcomplicate things.
But let me challenge this mindset because, we are conditioned since childhood to associate hard work and complexity with value.
That's true.
If you sweat for it, if it has a million features, it's worth more. Isn't subtracting or explicitly looking for the easy route going to feel like cheating to most people?
It definitely feels like cheating initially because we confuse motion with progress.
Motion versus progress.
Right. But subtraction actually requires far more clarity than addition. Think about your own email inbox right now. When you feel overwhelmed, your first instinct is probably to add a new folder system.
Definitely.
Or create new color-coded tags. Or download a new productivity app.
Guilty as charged.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That feels like progress, but it's just motion. Subtraction means having the discipline to ruthlessly unsubscribe from 80% of what's in there and delete the rest.
That's tough.
It is. Anybody can add a new feature or take on a new client. It takes immense discipline to create what the author calls a not-to-do list.
And not to-do list. I love that.
Addition is often a sign of an undisciplined mind trying to cover all bases.
Yeah.
Subtraction is the hallmark of a strategic mind focusing only on what truly matters.
That is a phenomenal way to frame it.
Thank you.
Now, if you are successfully subtracting tasks and you're actively limiting your work hours to focus on that top 20%, the reality is that the daily friction of the business still exists.
Oh, absolutely.
Someone still has to handle the edge cases, which means you have to deliberately remove yourself as the bottleneck.
Yeah.
The source has a highly relatable real-world example of this. When he was running that sports supplement company, he found himself spending 40 to 60 hours a week just answering customer service escalations.
That is exhausting.
Right. For example, a professional athlete overseas suddenly needs a product shipped overnight, requiring special customs forms.
A complete logistical nightmare that drains your most valuable resource, which is your focus.
So his fix was shockingly simple.
Oh, was it?
He sent an email to his customer service employees empowering them to make any decision to resolve a customer issue under $100 without asking for his permission.
Just like that.
Just like that. They just had to document the situation, how they handled it, and the cost.
I bet he was terrified.
Oh, he expected the worst. He expected to lose money, but everything worked seamlessly.
That's incredible.
So he bumped the threshold to $500, then $1,000.
Wow.
And eventually his personal customer service workload dropped from 60 hours a week to under 2 hours a week.
This raises such an important question about how we design our lives. It's why the author suggests asking, what might I put in place to allow me to go off the grid for 4 to 8 weeks with no phone or email?
Right. Note the specific time frame there.
Exactly. A 2-week vacation is dangerous because you can just let fires erupt, ignore them, and then play firefighter when you get back.
Yeah, you just catch up on sleep and then go back to the chaos.
But a 4 to 8 week absence, you can't fake that.
No.
That forces you to build durable systems. It forces you to empower others financially and structurally, separating the critical from the trivial.
Here's where it gets really interesting. It's exactly like teaching a kid to ride a bike.
Oh, I like this.
If you never let go of the seat because you're terrified they're going to fall and scrape their knee, they never actually learn the physics of balance.
Right.
By holding on, you are the exact bottleneck to their progress. The source notes that people's IQs seem to magically double as soon as you give them real responsibility and indicate trust.
It's so true.
To get huge good things done, you have to be totally okay with letting small bad things happen.
And the systems you build to survive that 8-week absence will far outlive the vacation itself. You return to a machine that runs without you.
Okay, let's say we've done this. We've optimized our work. We've systematized our lives. We've removed ourselves as the bottleneck, and we've freed up all this time and resources.
Yes.
This suddenly forces a much deeper, almost existential reevaluation. What are we actually spending our newly acquired money and time on?
This is where the deep dive transitions from external business tactics to internal life strategy.
Going back to that sports supplement business brain quicken.
Right.
He built it originally by looking at his own credit card statements and asking, what do I spend a silly amount of money on? How can I scratch my own itch?
Which is a great business origin story.
It is. He was making under 40 grand a year at his day job, but spending $500 a month on sports supplements.
Wow.
So he got his coworkers to prepay for a new supplement concept, hired chemists, and built the product.
And it was highly successful.
Very. But by 2004, it became a complete trap. He was working 15-hour days, constantly on the verge of a meltdown.
No. Yeah.
He was rich on paper, but utterly miserable.
And the turning point was when he sat down and calculated his target monthly income, or TMI.
Explain that, because it's a crucial concept.
We're conditioned to aim for this massive, abstract number like accumulating $5 million in an index fund by age 65.
Just so we can finally live off the interest.
Right. But the author asked, how much does my absolute dream life actually cost on a monthly basis right now?
And to find out, he literally priced it out.
He did.
He looked at the exact monthly cost of renting a villa in South America, leasing a sports car, hiring a personal assistant, and traveling.
And the math proved something shocking.
Which was?
When you stop deferring your life to a lump sum retirement and instead look at actual monthly cash flow, living like a millionaire is much cheaper than expected.
It really is.
He didn't need to keep grinding to build a massive nest egg. He just needed mobility and enough monthly income to cover those specific costs.
He realized he could afford to be happy today, not just successful a decade from now.
Exactly. And that realization requires a radical reframing of how we view money.
Especially when it comes to losses and sunk costs, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
there's a brilliant question the author poses here. Do I need to make it back the way I lost it?
No, the 2008 housing crash story.
Right. So he owned a home in San Jose that plummeted in value during the crash. He was moving to San Francisco, so the house sat empty, just bleeding money,
And friends pressured him to rent it out, right? So he wouldn't be taking a massive loss on the investment.
which is the standard advice everyone gives you.
Yeah, hold on to the real estate.
But renting it out with a property management company just brought massive headaches. It required his mental bandwidth.
Which is valuable.
So he asked himself, if you lose $1,000 at the blackjack table, should you try to recoup it at that exact same table? Of course not. He realized he was suffering from anchoring bias, a concept he picked up from Michael Mauboussin's book, Think Twice.
Let's break down why anchoring bias is so dangerous.
It's a cognitive trap where your brain fixates on the initial piece of information you receive. In this case, the original high price he paid for the house.
Right.
Your mind creates a psychological anchor, making it feel physically painful to sell for less than that number.
Even when current market data tells you holding onto the asset is irrational and costing you more in the long run.
Exactly. Your brain wants to anchor to the past. He recognized this flaw in his own thinking. So he took the hit.
He sold the house at a $150,000 loss.
Just to free up his mind space. And once that mental burden was gone, he easily made the money back elsewhere through speaking gigs and consulting.
That mindset of taking a financial hit just to buy back your mental space naturally scales up as you become more successful.
It does.
In fact, it leads to a total reversal of how you should view spending, which brings us to question 16. How can I throw money at this problem? How can I waste money to improve my life?
A very provocative question.
It is, and I have to stop here and challenge this.
Go for it.
Telling a listener to just throw money at a problem sounds incredibly privileged. How does the average person apply this without just going broke?
It's a vital challenge for sure, but it's fundamentally about understanding the phase of life you're currently in.
Okay.
The author uses wisdom from Dan Sullivan, the founder of Strategic Coach. The principle is this. In the beginning of your career, you have very little money, but you have an abundance of time.
True.
So you spend your time to earn money, you do the tedious tasks yourself. But once you hit your stride in any capacity, even a modest one, you must consciously reverse the equation.
Because time is strictly non-renewable.
Exactly. Time is non-renewable, money is renewable. So spending money to buy back your time, whether that's hiring a cleaner, paying for direct flights instead of layovers, or outsourcing data entry, isn't a luxury for the rich.
It's a strategy.
It's the ultimate strategic shift for anyone who wants a well-lived life. If you have enough money to solve a problem, you don't actually have a problem.
So the shift is moving from a scarcity mindset with your money to a scarcity mindset with your time.
You are recognizing what your most valuable asset truly is.
And that brings us to the final internal shift. We've optimized our workflows, we've bought back our time, we've reframed how we view money and sunk costs.
Yeah.
What is all of this actually for? It's about pace and fulfillment, which introduces one of my absolute favorite analogies in this whole document.
The antelope versus the field mice.
Yes.
This is an incredibly powerful diagnostic tool for your life.
Now, a quick disclaimer for you listening. Our source lifted this analogy from a book written by political strategists James Carville and Paul Begala, which quotes former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich. We are strictly looking at the strategy and biology of this analogy, completely divorced from any political ideology whatsoever. We take absolutely no sides here.
None at all.
But the analogy itself is brilliant. Gingrich points out a fascinating biological reality about lions. A lion is fully capable of capturing and eating field mice all day long.
Right.
But here's the critical part.
The energy required to hunt, catch, and kill a single mouse actually exceeds the caloric content provided by the mouse itself.
It's a net negative.
Exactly. So if a lion spends all its time successfully catching mice, it will still slowly starve to death.
Wow.
Biologically, the lion has to hunt big game. It needs antelope. Yes, antelope take considerably more strength, time, and strategy to catch, but a single antelope provides a feast that sustains the lion for days.
So you have to ask yourself, looking at your calendar, are you exhausting all your energy every day catching field mice?
Those tiny, trivial emails and tasks that give you a quick hit of satisfaction.
Yeah, or are you hunting antelope?
But even if you structure your life to only catch the antelope, there's another hidden trap.
Oh,
The source refers to it as the curse of the Type A personality.
that makes sense.
Goal pursuit is hardwired into high achievers. It produces great external results, but it also produces constant internal anxiety because you are forever living in the future.
Because once you catch the antelope, you immediately look for the next one.
Exactly. So the author asks, could it be that everything is fine and complete as is?
Which is hard for a Type A person to admit.
Very. He notes that achievement is really just a C+ in the grading of life.
C+.
Yeah. It gets you to the next grade, sure.
Yeah.
But true happiness requires you to actually want what you already have.
Which is why he relies on daily tools, right? Like the 5-minute journal.
Yes, or what he calls the jar of awesome, forcing himself to cultivate present state awareness and gratitude.
Which brings it all home to the final principle. It's not even a question. It's a complete reset of the operating system. No hurry, no pause.
I love that. It's a concept borrowed from the principles of Briam bodywork and Acro yoga.
The author writes it at the top of his notebooks every single day.
Yeah.
It's shorthand for a story about musician and entrepreneur Derek Sivers.
Oh, the bike ride story.
Yeah. Sivers used to ride his bike on a 15-mile path along the beach. He would ride red-faced, huffing and puffing, giving it absolutely everything he had.
Just pushing to the limit.
Exactly. And the ride took him exactly 43 minutes.
Okay.
One day, feeling burnt out, he decided to just relax. He put one foot in front of the other, calmly enjoyed the ocean scenery with zero straining.
And when he finished?
He looked at his watch. It took him 45 minutes.
Wow.
He had been torturing himself for a 2-minute difference.
That is profound.
The Navy SEALs have a mantra for this exact phenomenon. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast.
It's the realization that you can get 95% of the results you want without the frantic, straining energy that burns you out.
So what does this all mean? The author says his fundamental definition of luxury has changed over the years.
Right.
It isn't about owning a lot of expensive stuff anymore. True luxury is simply the feeling of being completely unrushed.
If we synthesize everything we've explored today, it paints a very clear picture of how to operate differently.
Yeah, it really does.
Upgrading your mindset means actively questioning the default 9-to-5 reality. It means having the discipline to subtract the unnecessary from your life rather than just adding to it.
Absolutely.
It requires the courage to trust others to fail small so you don't have to be the bottleneck. It's about recognizing sunk costs, like that empty house or an outdated strategy, and letting them go without anchoring to the past.
And it's about hunting antelope instead of starving on a diet of field mice.
And above all, it's about doing all of this without rushing. No hurry, no pause.
A well-lived life isn't about working harder. It's about asking better questions. And that brings us to the end of today's deep dive.
It's been a great conversation.
It really has. But before we go, I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder.
Yeah.
We talked a lot today about firing your worst customers and putting bad financial investments behind you. But I want you to look at your personal life right now. What is the one social obligation or personal habit you're treating like a sunk cost?
Ooh.
Something you only keep doing because of the time or emotion you've already put into it. What would happen if you just walked away today?
That is a great question.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.